Greetings once more, dear friends. Dragon here again, finally back with a review. It's been a long time since I've had a chance to do a review, but last week, the 29th of September, finally saw Philip Young's Where the Wind Blows getting its UK cinema release. It's getting limited cinema screenings around the UK, mostly Odeon cinemas. I will leave links down below underneath here to where the various screenings are. And it's a pretty ambitious, quite complicated movie, so we'll take a little bit of time to go through it. Principally stars Kwok and Tony Leung. And they're really kind of playing two of the four great sergeants of the Hong Kong police force who were massively corrupt, basically. And between them, those four kind of cops had basically kind of divided up Hong Kong and were really kind of fleecing the triads, trying to maintain that they were kind of keeping the city more in line, but really they were just making a huge amount of money off of illegal activities around Hong Kong during that period of time. The film spans a long time period, so it kind of goes right the way back to the tail end of the Japanese occupation, and you see both Kwok and Tony Leung's characters as much younger guys, in a couple of cases played by younger actors, and you kind of see really how they both experienced that period of time in Hong Kong history, and then how they ended up kind of becoming cops, and then the huge amount of corruption that was in place in the Hong Kong police force at that time, and particularly when the British took control of Hong Kong and how shady that whole period was. So it kind of spans about 40 or 50 years, takes it right the way through to really to when the ICAC got involved and started investigating and trying to crack down on corruption in Hong Kong. It's a very long movie, about 2 hours and 20 minutes, I think, and explores very similar characters and a very similar story that we already saw in Wong Jing's Chasing the Dragon with Andy Lau and Donnie Yen. Andy Lau, incidentally, playing the same character that we're seeing Kwok play in this movie. I think it's the first time that Kwok and Tony Leung have ever acted side by side, and it's kind of really, that's the main draw. If you're a fan of either of those two actors, you'll have an awful lot to enjoy here. It's much more firmly rooted in art house sensibilities than it is in kind of, if you're more familiar with the likes of Infernal Affairs or sort of traditional Hong Kong gangster police corruption type movies that are a bit more kind of action focused. This is a little bit more as if Johnny To held a gun to Wong Kar-wai's head and told him to try and make a kind of police corruption gangster movie. And Philip Young, I think, was a critic before he became a filmmaker. It's the second time working with Kwok. He worked with him on Port of Call, but it's the first time that I can remember seeing Kwok and Tony Leung acting together. And like I say, that is certainly where all the strongest scenes lie. Though there is a really great cameo towards the sort of third act of the movie from Michael Hoy, the wonderful Michael Hoy, playing George Lee, who was kind of like the chief, really the kind of the chief lead of the ICAC, so the guy brought in to try and crack down on corruption in the Hong Kong police force. And yeah, like I say, it is much more of an art house movie, so it can be quite plodding in places. Don't go into this expecting all guns blazing. There is a couple of action sequences, but they're very small and they're kind of very stylistically shot. The whole film looks absolutely magnificent. Cinematography in the film's really the other big draw for me. I think the cinematographer was Chin Ting Chang, who does an amazing job. There is weirdly quite a few extended dance sequences, one almost musical-esque dance sequence where Kwok's dancing in the kind of middle of a street that looks a little bit like it might be a kind of some sort of street party or something, but hard to kind of see the context and the music, the way that it's been edited. It kind of looks like that scene might have been repurposed from some different incarnation of the movie, because I think it was quite heavily cut in order to kind of try and get cleared from the National Film and TV Administration. But I think definitely worth seeing on the big screen if you can do. It's one that I'm not too sure if I'll revisit on physical media, so I'm very, very glad that I got the chance to see it, and I would encourage you to go and see it on the big screen if you can, because I think it will look absolutely amazing in cinemas. I saw it as a digital screener, and really I think missed out a little bit on the fact of seeing it in kind of like a super wide, massive screen with decent sound. Soundtrack's pretty good. And there's kind of a few needle drops of kind of quite familiar songs from that kind of time period, which work quite well. And visually it's really rich, really sumptuous. But yeah, like I say, a little bit more of a one for fans of Wong Kar-wai, or kind of 2000 era Wong Kar-wai. It's an interesting kind of movie just from the point of view of seeing that same period in history kind of re-examined in a very different way than we've seen before, certainly from the Wong Jing version. There's been a few other kind of attempts to try and tell that same story of those kind of four great sergeants. And yeah, just how shady they were. And it's interesting seeing the barefooted kid himself, Kwok, playing a less than noble character. He put on a little bit of weight for the part, so you can see him with a little bit of a pot belly, which he frustratingly instantly lost within about 3 days after kind of completing filming. I think he went back to being super ripped, even though he's 57. Pretty impressive. But yeah, it's good seeing Kwok kind of playing a slightly kind of more, don't want to say straight out villain, because it's not really portrayed that sort of way. I think the Philip Leung tries his best to kind of give a little bit more nuance to the characters, so that even though they're doing pretty despicable things, they're still presented as kind of pretty sympathetic characters in their own kind of way. But yeah, a film really without kind of very clearly defined heroes and villains, which is weird for a film that's looking at that much corruption at that period in time. You also see Lim Ho, which is the character that Donnie Yen played in Chasing the Dragon, and the portrayal of him in this is pretty good, though he's not really the main part of the film. He's kind of a passing character. Really, it's a kind of a two-man show, really, largely the film is concerned with. Aaron Kwok's character, he's playing Loy Lok, and Tony Leung, who's playing Nam Kong. Like I say, two of those four great sergeants. So yeah, let me know if it's a film that you're interested in seeing, or if you have seen, down in the comments down below. I've been the Fanatical Dragon. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.